no one saw it coming. For years, fans mourned the loss of Ty Borden, believing his story had ended forever. But just when Heartland seemed to have moved on, whispers turned into theories. And theories turned into something much bigger. What if Ty isn't gone after all? What if the man we thought we lost is about to walk back into the lives of the people and the show we love most? Season 19 isn't just another chapter. It's the one that could change everything. For a long time, silence was all we got. After Ty Borden's death in Season 14, fans were left heartbroken, trying to adjust to a Heartland without its quiet, dependable hero. Amy tried to move on. So did Jack, Lisa, and even Lindy. But something always felt missing. Like a piece of the soul of Heartland had been ripped away. The show tried to fill the gap with new characters and deeper storylines. It worked to some extent. But those who watched from the very beginning knew the truth. Heartland wasn't the same without Ty. When Season 18 rolled out, things began to shift. Small hints, subtle gestures, and cryptic lines in the dialogue gave longtime fans a reason to hope. Was it just nostalgia playing tricks, or was something really being set in motion? The writers remained silent, and so did Graham Wardle. Yet, online forums buzzed with speculation. Fans broke down every frame, every word, searching for a clue, any sign that Ty might still be alive. And then something happened. A leak. Not from an official source, but from someone close to the production. Or so it was claimed. The rumor was simple but explosive. Ty Borden is returning in Season 19. The leak didn't say how, or why, or even when, but it was enough to set the entire fandom ablaze. Was it a dream sequence, a flashback, or something far more shocking? Was Ty never dead to begin with? Suddenly everything was questioned. Was his death ever shown with certainty? Could there have been a cover-up? Some fans remembered that his funeral scene lacked closure. Others pointed to the fact that Amy never saw his final breath on screen. The theories grew wilder with each passing day, but one thing was clear. Season 19 had just become the most anticipated in the show's history. But beneath the excitement lies something deeper. Fear. What if the return of Ty ruins the legacy the show has built? What if his reappearance feels forced or unrealistic? These are the risks the writers must take carefully. Yet, for many fans, it's a risk worth taking. Because Ty wasn't just a character, he was the heart of the Heartland. As the season premiere approaches, the tension builds. Will he walk through that door? Will Amy see him again? Not in dreams, but in reality? The silence has lasted long enough. Now, it's time for answers. The whispers around Ty's return were no longer just background noise. They had become the heartbeat of the Heartland community. Something had changed. It wasn't just the fans talking anymore. The cast and crew began dropping strange hints in interviews. When asked about Season 19, Amber Marshall paused, just for a moment, and smiled in a way that wasn't scripted. It was subtle, but those who followed her for years knew that smile wasn't accidental. Was she hiding something, or was she preparing us for something we weren't ready to believe? Social media added fuel to the fire. Graham Wardle posted a photo of a familiar cowboy hat resting on a windowsill. No caption, no explanation. But the fans didn't need one. That hat had meaning. And just like that, the fandom erupted. Was it a throwback, a tease, or was it a signal? A quiet confirmation that Ty Borden was on his way home. And then came the cast reunion photo. Every major character was there, standing side by side on the ranch set, smiling for the camera. But it wasn't just who was in the photo. It was who took it. Sources revealed the photographer was none other than a crew member who had worked closely with Graham during his final season. Was that a coincidence? Or had the past been creeping its way back into the present all along? As fans waited with bated breath, theories turned into arguments. Some believed Ty had been secretly recovering somewhere, far away, hidden for his own protection. Others claimed the storyline would involve memory loss, or witness protection, or a major plot twist involving Ty's biological family. Every theory was wild. Every one of them had holes, but none could be entirely dismissed. That's what made the suspense so thick. Anything felt possible now. Meanwhile, Amy's storyline had quietly started to shift. Viewers noticed that her emotional arc had softened. The grief that once clung to her in every scene had started to loosen its grip. She was smiling more, talking about Ty more. There were moments where it seemed like she could feel him near, even though nothing was said aloud. In one scene, she stood in the barn looking at the empty stall, the one that had once belonged to Ty's horse, and she whispered, "Some things just don't feel over." That single line broke the internet. Fans didn't miss its weight. It wasn't just a moment, it was a message. And it wasn't just Amy who had started to change. Jack began spending more time out by the fire pit, staring into the flames with a look in his eyes that was hard to read. Lisa mentioned unfinished business. Even Lindy asked a question that stopped Amy cold. Will Daddy ever come back? The writers knew what they were doing. They weren't just preparing us for a shock. They were emotionally guiding us back to where it all began. Still, no one knows the truth. Is Ty alive? If he is, why did he stay away for so long? What could be powerful enough to keep him from his family, from Amy, from Lindy? The answers may be coming, but one thing is certain. If Ty Borden does return, it won't just be emotional. It will rewrite the rules of Heartland. And this time, no one will be ready for what's about to happen. There are stories that change a show, and then there are stories that shake its very foundation. Ty Borden's death was one such moment. But now, it appears it may not have been the end. As season 19 inches closer, strange patterns are beginning to surface, and fans can't ignore them anymore. Something deeper is happening behind the scenes, something the creators never expected would come to light. The truth? It might have been buried for years. It starts with a simple question. Why was Ty's final episode so vague? Unlike other dramatic deaths in television, his exit was quiet. Too quiet. There was no hospital room filled with family, no last words, no confirmation beyond a single heartbreaking scene. For years, fans accepted it. They cried, they grieved, they moved on. But in retrospect, that silence feels deliberate. The show that gave so much emotional detail to every loss didn't do the same for Ty. Was that the first clue? Digging deeper, fans uncovered something even more unsettling. In an interview from 2 years ago, a former writer on the show hinted that some characters are written off, but not forgotten. Not entirely. At the time, it seemed innocent. But now, those words feel loaded. Was Ty's death ever final, or was it always part of a larger plan to bring him back when we least expected it? Behind the camera, Heartland has always played the long game. Its writers are masters of slow emotional burn, of subtle foreshadowing, of reintroducing storylines from years ago with breathtaking impact. If anyone could orchestrate Ty's return in a believable, earth-shattering way, it would be them. But how? How do you bring back someone the world believes is gone? That's where the theories turn dark. Some believe Ty was forced into hiding after uncovering something dangerous, maybe related to a legal battle or a threat no one saw coming. Others suggest he was suffering from memory loss, rescued after a tragedy but unable to return until now. The more imaginative fans even tie in a medical mystery. Perhaps Ty had a rare condition misdiagnosed as fatal. These are just guesses, but in a world like Heartland, where drama meets raw emotion, even the wildest idea can find a place. And if these rumors are even partly true, imagine the fallout. Amy, believing she'd lost the love of her life, raising their daughter alone, suddenly faced with the impossible. Ty standing in front of her, very much alive. What would that do to her heart? To her mind? Would she embrace him or question everything? And Lindy, too young to understand the weight of her father's absence, suddenly seeing the man from the stories come to life. The reunion would be emotional, but it would also be confusing, painful, and complicated. And what about the family? Jack, who buried his grief under silence and strength, might feel betrayed. Tim, always suspicious of the unknown, could go into a spiral. Lou might question the choices they made, the support they gave Amy, the life they built without Ty. His return wouldn't just shake the foundation of the Heartland Ranch. It would shake the people who live in it. There's also the risk of something darker. What if Ty's return isn't permanent? What if his time back is limited? What if this isn't a second chance at life, but a final opportunity to say goodbye properly? The very thought is enough to unsettle even the strongest of fans, because the pain of losing him once was already too much. Could the audience handle it again? Heartland Season 19 is walking a tightrope. Bringing Ty back could heal old wounds, or tear them open all over again. But one thing is clear. If this return is real, it will be the boldest move the show has ever made. And none of us are ready for the storm that's coming. What happens when the past refuses to stay buried? That's the question at the heart of Heartland Season 19. And if the rumors are true, if Ty Borden is really coming back, then the answer won't just change the story. It will change the very soul of the show. For Amy, the idea of seeing Ty again feels impossible. She's built a life out of grief, out of strength, out of learning how to smile through the pain. But deep inside, there's a part of her that never stopped waiting. Not consciously, not in words, but in the quiet way she holds onto his memory, in the way she talks to Lindy about him, in the silence between her and the barn where they once shared dreams. She moved forward, yes, but she never truly let go. So imagine that moment, when Ty walks through the door, not in a dream, not as a ghost, but in flesh and blood, breathing, alive. How does a heart handle something like that? The shock, the disbelief, the raw confusion. Does she run to him, or does she freeze in place, her entire reality collapsing under the weight of a miracle she never dared to hope for? But Ty's return wouldn't be smooth. It wouldn't be fairy tale perfect. This is Heartland, and Heartland is built on emotional truth. There would be anger, from Amy, from Jack, from Tim. Questions with no easy answers. Why didn't he come back sooner? What kept him away? And does he expect to simply reclaim his place in their lives after all this time? More than that, what does this mean for Lindy? She was just a baby when Ty left. She knows him only through stories, pictures, and the pain in her mother's eyes. To her, Dad is a memory she never made. So when the man from those stories appears in real life, how does a child process that? There's beauty in that reunion, but there's also deep emotional risk. Because Ty isn't just returning to Amy, he's returning to a daughter who never got the chance to know him. And what if there's more to his story than anyone knows? What if Ty has been living with a secret? A reason for his disappearance that he still can't speak about? A danger that hasn't passed? His return may not be the happy ending fans are dreaming of. It could be the beginning of something even more intense. A hidden enemy, a past mistake, a ticking clock. We don't know why he's back, or how long he'll stay. The ranch, once a symbol of healing, may become a place of emotional reckoning. Everyone has changed since Ty left. Amy isn't the same girl who depended on him for strength. She's become her own pillar, her own guide. Jack has grown older, more protective. Lou's political world has hardened her. And Georgie, who once saw Ty as a mentor, may feel betrayed. Ty's return would force every character to look at themselves again, to ask, who am I now? And who was I then? But that's the power of Heartland. It's never been about easy answers or clean solutions. It's been about growth, love, pain, and the ways people come together even when it hurts. If Ty Borden is truly back, it means Season 19 isn't just another chapter. It's the beginning of a reckoning for every relationship, every decision, and every broken piece of the past that's still waiting to be healed. Fans aren't just watching a show anymore, they're watching a legacy being tested. And when the dust settles, we'll all be asking the same question. Can love survive the impossible? Sometimes a story isn't over when we think it is. Sometimes the people we lose find a way back, not just into our lives, but into the deepest corners of our hearts. Ty Borden wasn't just a character, he was a symbol of quiet strength, of love that endures, of healing through hardship. His absence left a hole that time could never truly fill. And now, the very thought of his return stirs something raw in every Heartland fan. A mixture of hope, fear, and longing. If Season 19 is truly bringing him back, it's not just about surprise or drama. It's about confronting the emotions we thought we had buried. It's about asking ourselves what it means to hold on and what it means to let go. Because Ty's return wouldn't just change the story, it would change the people in it. And maybe it would change us too. Heartland has always been about more than horses, ranches, and wide skies. It's about love that doesn't break, even when the world does. It's about family, the kind you're born into, and the kind you build through pain and patience. Season 19 may be the most emotional yet, because if Ty walks back into that world, every moment, Every tear, every heartbeat will remind us. Some love stories never really end.